Today, you're going to learn 10 words, not rare words, not impressive words, not the kind of words that look good on a vocabulary list. 10 small, ordinary words that native speakers use so often in so many situations that once you own them, whole conversations start opening up that used to feel close to you. And I mean this seriously, not as a slogan. If you stay with me through this whole video, actually listening, actually saying the examples out loud when I ask you to, you will leave here able to use every single one of these 10 words correctly today in a real sentence about your own life. Not someday, today. Let's start right now, no waiting. The first word is handle, as in, I can handle it. Picture a coworker asking if you're okay managing a big project alone. And instead of saying something long and complicated, you just say, don't worry, I can handle it. Simple, confident, done. You can use it almost anywhere something feels like a lot. It's a lot of work, but I can handle it. The kids were being loud, but she handled it well. He's new, but he can handle pressure better than people twice his age. One word, endless doors. Say that sentence out loud right now, just once, using your own situation. I can handle, and finish it with whatever's actually on your plate this week. That's the difference between a word you recognize and a word you own. The second word is figure out. Think of it as your all-purpose problem word. You don't need separate vocabulary for every kind of confusion. You just need this one phrase. I couldn't figure out how to open the door. Give me a second. I'll figure it out. We still need to figure out where we're eating tonight. It took me a while to figure out what she meant. Notice how none of these sentences are complicated. That's exactly the point. This one phrase quietly replaces a dozen more complicated ones you might have been reaching for instead. Third, bring up. This one means to mention something, to introduce a topic into a conversation. I didn't want to bring it up, but we need to talk about the rent. She brought up an interesting point in the meeting. Don't bring up the trip in front of him. He's upset about missing it. It sounds small, but bring up saves you from constructing much longer, clumsier sentences every single time you want to introduce a topic gently, especially a slightly uncomfortable one. Fourth, run into, not literally running. This means to unexpectedly meet someone or encounter a problem. I ran into my old teacher at the store yesterday. We ran into a problem with the schedule. You'll probably run into some traffic if you leave now. Two completely different situations, people and problems. One flexible phrase that fits both without you needing to learn two separate vocabulary sets. Fifth, put off, to delay something. I keep putting off that phone call. Don't put off your homework until the last minute. She put off the decision for as long as she could. Almost everyone, everywhere, in every language, has something they're putting off right now. This phrase gives you a natural, native-sounding way to say exactly that, instead of the stiffer, more textbook-sounding postpone, which native speakers use far less often in casual conversation than learners tend to assume. Now here's something I want you to notice about these first 5 words. None of them are complicated. None of them require you to sound impressive. And that's actually the entire secret hiding inside this lesson. The thing most learners get completely backward without realizing it. Most people assume that sounding fluent means using bigger, more advanced vocabulary. So they memorize words like magnificent and unprecedented and circumstance. Words they've maybe used twice in their entire lives in either language. Meanwhile, they hesitate on words like handle and figure out, the actual workhorses of real conversation, because those words felt too simple to bother studying properly. Here's what's actually true, and once you understand this, it will change how you study for the rest of your life. Native English speakers rely on a surprisingly small core of common words and phrases for the overwhelming majority of daily conversation. Fluency isn't built from rare, impressive words. It's built from complete comfort with ordinary ones, used instantly without searching for them. A person who can use handle, figure out, and run into, without a moment's hesitation, will sound more natural in a real conversation than someone who knows 100 advanced words but has to pause and search for each one. I think about a woman I once worked with, I'll call her Adeline, who had spent 2 full years working through an advanced vocabulary book, cover to cover, learning words most native speakers would need a dictionary for themselves. She could describe things as ubiquitous and situations as precarious, and yet, in an actual conversation, she hesitated constantly because those words, however impressive, rarely fit the moment naturally. And searching for the right, rare word mid-sentence is exactly the kind of hesitation that breaks a conversation's flow. When she shifted her focus toward phrases like the ones we've covered today, small, flexible, endlessly reusable, her conversation sped up almost immediately, not because she suddenly knew more, but because what she knew finally matched what real conversations actually require. So, if you've spent years feeling like you're not good enough because your vocabulary feels basic, I want you to actually sit with what I just told you, because it isn't a comforting exaggeration. It's the honest, unglamorous truth about how fluent conversation actually works. Basic words, used instantly and confidently, beat advanced words used slowly and nervously. It's every single time, in every real conversation you'll ever have. All right, let's keep going, because there are 5 more words waiting, and these next ones are going to feel even more useful once you see how naturally they fit into daily situations. 6th, deal with, close cousin to handle but slightly different in feel. I'll deal with it tomorrow. She's dealing with a lot right now. I don't have the energy to deal with this today. It carries a small sense of something being a burden, something you're actively managing, which makes it perfect for talking about stress, responsibilities, or problems without sounding dramatic. I remember a student once, I'll call him Holt, who kept using the word manage for absolutely everything because that's what his textbook had taught him. I will manage this situation. I am managing my time. Technically correct every time. And yet it made him sound like he was narrating a business report instead of having a conversation. The moment he switched some of those sentences to deal with instead, something shifted. He sounded like a person talking, not a document being read aloud. That's the entire difference these small, ordinary words make. 7th, get along. This describes how well people relate to each other. My sister and I get along really well. They didn't get along at first, but now they're close friends. How do you get along with your new roommate? It's one of the most natural ways to talk about relationships, and it comes up constantly, whether you're talking about family, coworkers, or new friends you've just met. 8th, come up with. To think of something, to create an idea. I couldn't come up with a good excuse. She came up with a great plan. We need to come up with a name for the project by Friday. Notice how this phrase does the work of an entire sentence about creativity or problem solving in just 3 small words. Words you already know individually, just combined in a way you might not have practiced yet. 9th, get over. To recover from something, whether it's a cold, a disappointment, or a difficult situation. I finally got over my cold. It took him a while to get over the breakup. I don't think I'll ever get over how good that food was. This phrase carries real emotional weight while staying completely simple, which is exactly the kind of combination that makes spoken English feel natural instead of textbooks diff. And 10th, look forward to feel excited about something coming up. I'm looking forward to the weekend. We're really looking forward to seeing you. I wasn't looking forward to Monday, but it turned out fine. This is one of the warmest, most commonly used phrases in everyday English. The kind of thing you'll hear in almost every casual conversation about plans, and it instantly makes you sound more natural the moment you use it correctly. Now, here's what I want you to actually do with these 10 words, because just hearing them isn't the same as owning them. Pick 3 right now, just 3, not all 10. Say one full sentence out loud for each of them about your own real life. Not the examples I gave you, yours. If get over reminds you of something you're actually recovering from, say that sentence. If look forward to makes you think of something happening this weekend, say that one. The words that get tied to something real in your own life stick permanently. The ones that stay as generic examples on a list fade within days. And if 3 feels easy, don't stop there. Go back through all 10, one at a time, and build a single true sentence for each. It doesn't need to be interesting. I need to figure out what to cook tonight is a perfectly good sentence. I'm looking forward to the weekend is a perfectly good sentence. The goal was never to impress anyone, including yourself. The goal is repetition tied to something real, said out loud in your own voice, until it stops feeling like an exercise and starts feeling like something you'd actually say without thinking about it. Before we wrap up, I want to give you 2 more, a small bonus, because they pair so naturally with what we've already covered, that leaving them out would feel incomplete. Catch up, as in staying informed or reconnecting with someone. I need to catch up on emails. Let's grab coffee and catch up soon. It's warm, it's casual, and it's one of the most common ways native speakers suggest reconnecting with someone they haven't seen in a while. And count on to rely on someone or something. You can count on me. I was counting on the weather being better. This phrase carries trust and reliability in just 2 words, and using it correctly instantly makes you sound more emotionally natural in a conversation. The kind of thing that builds real connection with whoever you're speaking to. 12 words now, not 10, and every single one of them shares the same quality. Small, familiar, endlessly reusable, the exact opposite of the rare, impressive vocabulary most learners waste their energy chasing. There's one more thing worth mentioning before we wrap up. Something that has nothing to do with which words you know and everything to do with how they actually sound when a native speaker says them. Notice that almost none of today's 12 phrases are pronounced the way they look when written slowly and separately. Figure out blends into something closer to figure out almost one word, not 2 distinct ones with a pause in between. Get along softens into jai delong. Look forward to compresses into something quick and connected, not 3 carefully separated words. This is exactly why understanding written English and understanding spoken English can feel like 2 completely different skills. Native speakers aren't pronouncing each word individually and clearly the way a textbook audio track does. They're blending, connecting, softening sounds together, the same way your own first language probably does in casual speech, even if you've never consciously noticed it happening. So as you practice these phrases out loud today, don't say them slowly and separately like you're reading a list. Say them the way you'd actually hear them in a real conversation. Connected, a little softened, moving quickly from one word into the next. That single adjustment in how you practice will do more for how natural you sound than weeks of only reading words silently off a page. If you've watched everything up to this point carefully out loud where possible, I want you to understand something important. You have already done more real practice in the last several minutes than most learners do in an entire week of passively scrolling through vocabulary apps. Not because these 12 words are magic, because you engaged with them instead of just letting them pass by. That's the entire pattern, by the way, hiding underneath everything I teach here. It was never really about memorizing more. It's about engaging deeply with less, using it, saying it, connecting it to your actual life, until it stops being something you learned and starts being something you simply know. The same way you know words in your first language without ever consciously studying them. I know it can feel sometimes like everyone else picked this up faster, like you're somehow behind where you should be by now. I want to gently push back on that feeling. Every fluent speaker you admire went through this exact stage. hesitating on ordinary words, feeling behind, wondering if it would ever click. What separates the people who eventually get there from the people who quietly give up isn't talent. It's whether they kept showing up for small, ordinary lessons like this one on the days it felt like nothing, and on the days something finally clicked. So here's what I'd like from you before this video ends. If you understood what I was explaining, even if English still feels difficult for you overall, tell me in the comments. Just write which of these 12 words felt the easiest for you, or which one you're going to use today. I read these and I build future lessons around what people are actually struggling with. So your comment genuinely shapes what comes next. And if this helped even a little, subscribe so the next lesson finds you without you having to go looking for it. I'll see you in the next one.